Welcome to this Simply Communicate video introducing hiring as a strategic resource. I'm Ian Webster, founder and owner of Simply Communicate. A Harvard Business Review study found that 80% of staff turnover is caused by bad hiring decisions. I'd like to discuss two ideas in this brief video that may help revolutionize hiring in your organization and reduce that 80% statistic. There's much to be said about hiring, but this is just an introduction, a taster, if you like. Think of the disruption for a moment that happens in an organization when an employee leaves. There's the disruption of having to think about someone else's job while you're doing your own. There's the disruption of having to redistribute the work, which might be permanent or just until a replacement is found. And it's not just the tasks that are in the job description nicely laid out, it's the extra little things that the employee has picked up along the way. Then if we decide to replace, there's the disruption of the recruitment process itself, with all its challenges, including onboarding a new employee. On top of all this is the huge cost involved, including the cost of your time spent on the disruption and the cost of recruitment. If the study is correct and 80% of staff turnover is caused by bad hiring decisions, then most of these disruptions and the cost involved are avoidable. But here's the thing. How many of us go back after a dismissal for incapacity, for example, and say, I made a bad mistake. That was a poor hiring decision. I've never heard it said. We blame the candidate. They lied, or they obviously good at interviews but bad at the job, and so on. But even if that stuff is true, our problem is that we fail to pick it up. And the question we have to ask is, what will we do differently next time to avoid being conned again? If we continue to believe that we're doing nothing wrong and that we have nothing to learn, research tells us that we are causing greater disruption and turnover of staff in our organization than we are willing to admit. So what can we do differently? To answer that properly, we would need more time together, and you're welcome to call me to discuss how we can make that happen. But for now, let me suggest two things. You will have heard the term higher attitude, train skills. Sound advice, but let me put it differently. Higher values over mission. Higher values over mission. Most of the time we look at our mission, what we're trying to achieve. And when we hire, we look for someone who will help get us there. It makes sense. But you might end up hiring a driver for your bus who will get you to your destination, but who doesn't care how, doesn't care for the rules of the road, for example. As a result, you're not going to enjoy the journey, and the organization might not survive. The reality is that doing business is not about the destination. Business is all about the journey. It's important to know where we're going, but customers are not interested in our destination, our mission to become the brightest or the best. Their interest lies in the journey, what it feels like to do business with us. And that's where our values, rather than our mission, come in. Given more time, we could talk about disruptors and their place and how and when to employ them. But whenever you employ, higher values over mission. The second thing I want to offer comprises two quotes. The first from Sam Walton. The most important decision managers make is who they allow in the door. And the second is Google's golden rule. The urgency of the role isn't sufficiently important to compromise quality in hiring. Let's start with Walton's who we allow in the door. You might not always find people who will share your dream and drive your organization forward. You might end up with employees who get the job done, but they're just drifting along. They keep the ship afloat, or at least their section neat and tidy. However, your job is to ensure that when you hire, you avoid at all cost those negative individuals who may be anything from mildly irritating to deadly toxic. Avoiding them and increasing your chances of hiring those dream builders will take an investment of time and thought that too many managers are not willing to give to hiring. Hence the second quote, the urgency of the role isn't sufficiently important to compromise quality in hiring. Never let urgency compromise quality. No matter who is doing the hiring, no matter how busy that person is or how crazy busy the office is, never let urgency compromise quality. There are various things that will help improve the quality of your hiring. For now, let me simply say hiring will take time. Recognize that hiring involves one of the most important decisions you can make, and commit the time and resources to make the best decision you can. So, hire values over mission and commit time to the process. Two simple things, but two things I believe will improve the success of your hiring so that your organization does not add to that 80% statistic. If you would like to know more, please contact me by email, ian@simplycommunicate.co.za, or visit my website, www.simplycommunicate.co.za. You can also find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Thank you for joining me.